Hey everybody, this is Tyler and welcome to Apex Trader. If you have not already, go on to Facebook, search up Apex Trader, and you'll find me as a Facebook group. I post a lot of great videos up on here. I'm also over here on YouTube, so you can search me there as well. The very last post I uploaded goes over how to open a Webull account step by step. Now, what is a Webull account? It is a trading platform that has direct access to the stock market. And you have to open an account, and right here is a very detailed step-by-step tutorial on how to go through the entire process, starting with the application, the risks, disclosures, just all of it. Very informational, very good. Also, over here in files, I have a PDF of it right there as well. So if I talk too fast in this 20-minute long video that goes over all of it, no worries, it's right there in files as well. Now, with that being said, we're going to jump right into going over every single button and icon on the Webull platform. This is what it will look like right after you download it. Or if you already have it downloaded, you might have a different layout, but this is how it comes default. The very first thing that we are going to go over is the watch list. Right down here in the bottom left hand corner, I'm going to start from the left and move my way through each tab until we get to the end. Now, the watch lists, this page is pretty important because it's where you're going to be putting all of the stocks that you are going to watch for excellent buy-in and sell out points. And so I'm just going to go ahead and go over what every button on the watch list page is. Right up here next to all stocks, we will click that and we will make a watch list. So to make a personal watch list, you will come down here to the bottom where it says add list, and you will put whatever name you want to. I'm going to go ahead and, as an example, just put Apex Trader, and the currency is right here, the US dollar. Very good. And we will click save. Now it's going to bring you right back here, but do not worry. Just go right back up, and bada bing bada boom, there it is, Apex Trader. You can click on it or whatever you just set your watch list page to, but as you can tell, you have absolutely no stocks right here. No worries, I will show you exactly how to add great stocks here in just a little bit. We will go right back up on here. Now go back to all stocks. Right below it is this sideways turn button. If you indeed click that, it's going to turn your screen sideways, and it's going to have all of these great information up here, such like price, change, for percentage, the extended hours volume, low, high, the previous close turnover, and so on and so on. You can turn that sideways. It's very useful information, and if you are not too sure what any of that means, hold on tight. For now, we will exit the screen, which is this little tiny gray button right here. Click that. It is going to put your screen back to normal in a way. Now the symbol. If you click the symbol right here, it's going to put your stocks in alphabetical order. As you can tell, A through Z. We don't have any stocks on here right now that go to Z, so it just goes to L. Not too bad. And if you click it again, all it's going to do is reverse it. So now it's going to start with the A down here and the lowest or latest letter up here. And one more time, it's just going to go back to the default mode, which wherever they put it. Now if you go all the way right across is the price. If you click that, it's going to put the highest price to lowest price. One more time, it's going to put the lowest price to the highest price. And then again, it's going to put it back into the default mode for whatever Webull decides to choose. Let's go right back up into our little tab up here on the left-hand top corner of the screen. And let's say you're a few months into trading and this entire screen is full, and you might want to clear some out. you will come down here to the Manage button, and you're going to see all of your watch list names and pages and all of that. And right here you can actually delete them. So you click the little red minus button and you can delete it, or you can move it up. So let's say you have your entire page full, but you're really focusing on a certain watch list, and instead of keep clicking over and then scrolling all the way down and finding it, you can just move them up and down as you would like. So that's very awesome. We will go ahead and click the back button right on up here, and you should be right back out onto the stocks page. If we go up here to this Q, kidding, that is not a Q, it's a magnifying glass. Well, I guess it's also known as a search button. This is where you can search for stocks. It's not too bad if you have a company or a stock in mind. That is an excellent place to go right up there and search a stock real quick. If you go right on back, right to the right of that is these three little tiny dots, and we got stimulated holdings as the first one. Go ahead and click that. There is nothing to show up right here because you are not actually on a stock. I will talk about this here in a little bit. With that being said, click back, go right back up on to the three little tiny dots, and right here is watch list settings. You can do a whole lot of different cool stuff on here. For example, you can choose to have the name of the company, also known as a stock, and then the symbol, or how I like to do it is I like to have the symbol and then the stock name. And if you're wondering what that looks like, let's go back real quick, and this is all it's pretty much saying. Like right here, all of these have the stock symbol and then the stock name. So that's how it's going to be pretty much presented. Once you go right back up here, you can also have whether you like the price of the stock right here, followed by how much it has gone up or gone down in the day, and then the percent change, or you can have it showing the price of the stock right here, and then it'll show the percent change and then how much dollar-wise it has gone up or down right there. Me personally, I've just always gone with this way, so that's just what I go with. Now, down here, this is very awesome what you can do. You can choose, most of the time when you go on to any sort of stock market or anything, all you see is green and red. Now, red can be very intimidating, so what I like to do is I like to go ahead and go with the green and the yellow. Pretty much all of the stocks that are going up for the day are going to be green, and all of the stocks that are down for the day are going to be yellow instead of red. You can also go ahead and change your colors. This is completely up to you, but I like green and yellow as my color choices. And right here, you want to make sure that this is on real time. This means that it is real time stock market news, notifications, price, everything is real time. It's happening now. You really don't want it to be delayed by any certain amount of time, or you don't want to have to put that stuff in manually. With that being said, let's go right back up here to the back button, and believe it or not, we have actually just now finished the watch list tab page. So we are going to move right to the right down here onto the markets. Now you're on the markets. This is the page that you should be looking at. For example, right up here, we have the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ. The blue is the Dow Jones, the purple is the S&P 500, and the green is the NASDAQ. Pretty much, it goes from 9:30 in the morning when the stock market opens and goes all the way up until 4 in the afternoon when the stock market closes. It does not show the pre-market or the after hours for right here. It just shows during the day. But we still have access to pre-market and after hours. It just does not display it right up here. Now, what this is saying is how the economy and the stock market overall did for the day. Very important. As you can see right down here, we have decliners and advancers. This is what it is by how the economy performed overall. So there were 3,389 stocks that advanced today, meaning that they opened and then closed at a higher price. And there were 2,820 stocks today that opened and then closed at a lower price. Now, this is extremely important because this really decides if you're going to have a red day, a green day, or overall a not too bad of a day. Now, as you can tell, today the Dow Jones opened right here and it actually closed above for the day. Now, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ did not. They opened and closed lower. So, that is definitely something to consider when you're coming in to buy a stock, to look at the overall market trend. That is very important to know. Is the market doing good today, or is the market lacking? Is it having a pullback? What is the overall market doing? Now, what is the Dow Jones? That's a great question. The Dow Jones is the 30 largest publicity traded companies that are on the U.S. stock exchange. And the S&P 500 are 500 companies that are under the S&P 500, and then the NASDAQ is also known as the NASDAQ 100. There are 100 stocks under that. So the reason that these three are up here is because they are the indexes. It is what everybody watches. It's what everybody follows. Very, very important. You always want to keep in mind what these are doing throughout the day, because that's going to really decide what the stock you're bought into is going to do, unless you're in some type of ETF, which I'll talk about that here soon as well. With that being said, let's scroll on down. Now, you might not have these icons in the exact places as I do. And if you would like to change that, this little button right here, if you tap it, it now moves it. So it now moved it up to the very, very top. Noticed how my advancers and decliners was right there, and now it's the top gainers. This is all a preference on how you like to have it set up. So I'm going to switch it back to where I have my advancers and decliners, because I like to have that directly under what it is showing for the day. And right under that I have the top gainers. Now the top gainers are very important because you have all of these different times. For example, you have a pre-market, you have an after hours, you have 5 minutes, 1 day, and so on and so on. So, as you know, the pre-market on the East Coast opens at 4 in the morning. So if you come here to the top gainers at 4 in the morning and click on pre-market, you are going to see the top gainers for the time being. And sometimes, but not all the times, the stocks that are up here on the top gainers that early in the morning usually carry out into the day. And then you also have the after hours. And so if we go ahead and click on the after hours, these are all of the stocks that performed after the market closed, which is on the East Coast closes at 4 in the afternoon and go all the way up until 8 at night. So you can buy and sell stocks all the way up until it's bedtime. But with that being said, this is a rather interesting topic, because when you talk about a stock that is having a lot of hype in the day, this is usually exactly where it will be. If the news, or if you just hear overall a ton of people talking about it, this is exactly where it's going to show up. Now, I know it only has 5 right here, but right down here at the bottom, it says View All. If you click View All, it will give you just a list of all of the top gainers from the highest and so forth on down. So you can go through here with some good stocks. Now let's go on back and go right on down to the next icon. It might not be the most active list on your screen, but the most active I have under my top gainers because in times they correlate together. And what I mean by that is, for example, the number 1 on the most active is the number 4 on the top gainers. The most active are the stocks that have a ton of volume. And volume is extremely important. It means there is a ton of eyes on it. It can be extremely volatile, especially if any news or anything comes out about it, it can really take off. So this most active list right here can be extremely beneficial. You can as well click the view all, and you can go through all of the most active stocks, and it is very good to have the most active on your watch list, because I have seen from personal experience stocks come up on this most active that are sitting from $5 a share, $10 a share, and believe it or not, within 2 to 3 weeks they're at 50 plus. So definitely keep an eye on the most active watch list, especially for companies that are coming out with great news or earnings, which I'll talk about here in a little bit about earnings and stuff. But if you're scrolling down, we have the best performing industries. Let's go ahead and click on view all, and I will talk about industries. So as I mentioned earlier about the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ, under those there are 11 sectors. Within the 11 sectors, there are 52 industry groups. These are the 52 industry groups. These are what all of these stocks fall under. It is how they are categorized for what they are. For example, the best performing industry for today is passenger transportation services. If we click on that, you can see why. Out of the passenger transportation services, there were 17 stocks that advanced, and there were only 5 that did not. With that being said, it is number 1 on the best performing industries. And you can go on through here, and there are a lot. Like I said, there's 52. It can be very useful, especially if you are trying to find a very specific stock in a very specific industry. This is where it's great to find it. If we go ahead and go on back, we are going to go right back on down to hot ETFs. Now, I did say earlier that I was going to talk about them, so here we are. These are hot ETFs. What I need you to do is click the bottom down here where it says view all. Once to this screen, we have right here all of the hot ETFs for what they all fall under. You have the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the VIX, the Russell 2000, which there are 200, or I'm sorry, there are 2,000 stocks under the Russell, and the FTSE. For example, let's just go right into the Dow Jones. So everybody click the Dow Jones, and you are seeing 6 stocks. Now, I'm going to explain to you what an ETF is, because they're very important. And I'm going to make this easy, so everybody go up here to leverage and click times 3. It comes to the UDOW and the SDOW. As you can see, the UDOW is positive 3%, and the SDOW is negative 3%. This is a direct correlation to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So, what did the Dow Jones Industrial Average do today? It ended the day 1% higher than it opened. Therefore, the UDOW follows it. And with that being said, it times it by 3. The 3x right here is what that means. And the S Dow followed it by 3, but in the opposite direction. And if you want to know which one exactly follows it and which one goes against it, you simply click on it and it will say right here under it. If it says Ultra Pro, that means that it will follow it. Now if we go back and click on the SDAO, right here it is going to say Ultra Short. If it says short, that means that it is the inverse ETF of the Dow Jones. And this same exact thing happens with the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. So it can be very, very beneficial if the market is in an overall great uptrend and you want to be invested into the ETFs of Dow Jones. You would definitely want to be invested into the UDOW because it's going to times 3 your profits. And in case the entire market is crashing and it's not a good week, you would want to be invested into the SDOW because it's going to inverse what is happening times 3. And you can also do times 2 as well. So go up there and click times 2 and you'll get DDM, which goes with it, and then DXD, which goes against it, just times 2. That is very, very good information right there. From here, let's go ahead and click the back button. You should now be back out onto our markets page, as you can see right up here under United States. And we just went over the hot ETFs, so we will scroll down and we get the net flow. That's pretty self-explanatory. It's the net flow based off of the market opening and the market closing. And right below that, I have the top losers. This is where all of the stocks that primarily did extremely bad today are going to end up right here. With that being said, you can again go right here and view all. And you can view all of the top losers. I'm not too sure if you will spend a great amount of time in the top losers, but sometimes you can find some great picks out of there of extremely oversold stocks will be in there, and it could definitely be a great time for a buy. Now I'll talk about the buying and selling and the perfect entry and exit points here soon as well, or maybe in a different video. Anyways, scroll all the way back up to the top, and you notice that the United States is highlighted blue, and these other two are white. Let's go ahead and go over to cryptos. Now, Webull offers cryptos. The only downside about this is it only allows you to invest in 4 different types of cryptos, but they are the most known. For example, you have the Bitcoin, the Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, and then the Bitcoin US dollar. All of these down here are on here, and you can definitely watch them and everything. You just are not able to trade them yet. Webull is still working on getting them able to be traded on. Now, that is cryptos for you. Let's go on over to the next icon of global. Now, it's going to show you a map, and you can actually spin it, and it will take you up and around the world. And these are all of the different stock exchanges for different countries, along with the United States. For example, right here you have the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, and the S&P. And then up here you just have all kinds of different stock market exchanges in the different countries. And you can also view them right down here. This right here is Forex. What Forex stands for is foreign exchange. It's the foreign stock exchange markets. It's pretty cool. I mean, if you go ahead and click on them, it's the Euro US dollar. Pretty cool. And then down below you have the hot futures. If we go ahead and go right back up, if you by chance wanted to add any of these other stock exchanges up here to be very accessible, there's this little icon to the right of global you can go ahead and click on, and it will bring this up. Now let's say we wanted to look at the China Stock Exchange. You would tap China and it'll show up over here. Now click the blue check and you will now see China right next to global. So let's go ahead and check it out. If you click on China, you are now looking at the China Stock Exchange. It looks extremely similar to how the United States is set up. There's all of the same thing. You got the decliners, the advancers, and it actually looks like they had a very, very bad day in the market today. But it goes over all the same. Now, the one thing that you must know is with foreign exchanges, they're all in their language and how they present the symbols and everything. So, through personal experience, I would stick off with just going with the United States Stock Exchange. If you wanted to remove China, just go back up over to our little icon and click the minus button, which is right there, little minus button. And remember, click the check mark, otherwise it will not go away. Boom, it is gone. Great job, we have now completed that. There's one last thing that we're going to go through on this page, which is the Explore button. Right next to Markets is the Explore button. So once we are up there into the Explore button, you can see that you have, it starts off as just Explore lists. For example, if you clicked on this one right there, which is the security and surveillance, you would have all the stocks that lay under companies that are all about security and surveillance. Like example, ADT. ADT is right there, along with 6 other companies. Pretty cool. If you want to, you can come and check these out. Definitely cool stuff. You can click View All, and you can view all of them. Now this, Screeners. This is exactly where I'm going to show you where to find the stocks that you will want to put on your watch list. It's through the Screeners right here. There's a very certain screeners that I run through these stocks to find the best of the best, and I will get to that here, not right now, and I'm going to actually do a separate video for that because that's a very big topic. But for now, this is where the screeners are. If we come on down, we will hit the IPO Center, and again, you can change all of these to how you want it. It is up to your personal preference. The very first one that pops up on mine is the IPO Center. Now, what is the IPO Center? It is all of the stocks that are coming onto the stock exchange. For example, there are 3 available, which means you can order now at the price that they select, and you can, in a way, pre-order it before it reaches the stock market. There are being 339 filled, and there are 546 listed. So as you can see, there's definitely a process that they have to go to before they can actually just come onto the stock exchange. It's very cool. If you want to, we can go ahead and click View All, and it will take you to this where you can order and view the rest of them that are going to be able to be ordered very soon. You can go over to Filled, and these are all the ones that are going to be filled, and same thing with listed. Sometimes you can, for example, if there's a really big company coming out that's growing extremely fast and is going to be coming onto the stock exchange, like something like Lyft or something, because Lyft did recently come on and it definitely took off, and it did come through this exact IPO Center. So sometimes you want to come on here and look for that. Very good. So we'll go ahead and go back. We'll go right on down to Calendar. I really like the calendar right here because it has earnings, dividends, and splits. So let's click the view all so we can get a nice bigger view of what it is that we are actually looking at. Now, earnings. Earnings are extremely important because it, in a way, tells you how the company is doing year after year and quarter after quarter. For example, you have the release time, and the only time of day earnings are released are either before the market opens, so before 9:30 in the morning, or after the market closes, so after 4 in the afternoon. Those are the only times earnings will come out. And you can see the date right here. So these are all of the earnings plays that came out today, either before the bell or after the bell. And you can see exactly the EPS estimate, which is earnings per share. All of the big people on Wall Street give the stocks what they believe they value them at, and what, in a way, they should be performing at. And if the earnings come out and they beat the estimate, it is a very, very good thing for a stock to do that. In the case that you have an earnings that is very bad and it does not perform above the estimate, it is in a way saying that the stock is not doing as good as it can. Now, one thing to be very careful about with earnings is sometimes you will see these earnings plays show up on the top gainers we talked about earlier. And you will see a lot of pre-anticipatory run-up right before the earnings come out. From personal experience, do not buy a stock before the earnings come out, because you do not know if the earnings will be good or if the earnings will be bad. You do not know, do not gamble, and do not guess if they will be good. You wait until the earnings come out. I have seen with my own eyes a stock running up very massively. The earnings come out and the earnings are bad, and the stock falls very quickly. And now you're stuck in a position of a bad earnings play. Therefore, you do not want to be in that position, so do not buy a stock that has earnings before. You buy after they come out. Verify, double check, alright, it beat the earnings per share estimate. This is a great buy. I've done my research on the stock. Bada bing, bada boom. It's buy time. That is how you go about earnings. Now let's talk about dividends. If you come on over here to dividends, these are all of the stocks that have dividends, and they come out quarterly, annually, that kind of stuff. And pretty much the stock pays you a dividend for being a shareholder of their company. And this right here is what they pay you for the amount of shares that you hold. So if you have 100 shares, they will pay you 25 cents per share for being with that company during the dividends date. Now, what a lot of people do is they do dividend plays. What this means is that right here in this column is the ex-dividend date. If you buy a stock, any of these stocks, right here it says the ex-dividend date is for March 8th. If you were to buy this stock on March 7th and held it through up until the stock market opened on March 8th and sold it, you would technically still get the dividends because you are a shareholder on the ex-dividend date. So a lot of people are going to come in here and look at which dividends are tomorrow and which are having a good dividends, a nice high good dividends. And they're going to buy the stock the day before specifically just to make a dividends play. But you have to buy it before the ex-dividend date and sell it on the ex-dividend date. And as you scroll over, you have the declaration date and the pay date. So the pay date is on March 30th. So 2 to 3 weeks later, you will receive the dividends. That is how dividends work. Through personal experience, doing a dividends play is fun to mess around with and everything, but if you really want to capture the full return on dividends, you want to have a completely separate dividends portfolio where you have very high dividend stocks that you are invested into to collect it every time they come out with the dividends. You can make a great income that way. Let's talk about splits. Come up here to splits. What this is being said is a stock does a split for numerous reasons. I'm not going to go into those numerous reasons, but as you can see right here, this is having a stock split ratio of a 1 to 10. What that means is for every 1 share you own, it will be converted to 10. This is the opposite. For every 10 shares of this company you own, it will be converted to 1 share. So look out for that when you are going and buying a stock. Make sure it is not having a split coming up, because most of the times it's to get out of trouble. So let's go ahead and click the back button. We just went over the calendar with the earnings, the dividends, and the splits. Some very good, useful information there. I hope I helped you out answering anything you might have had about dividends or earnings. We go on down to the 52-week high. You can click all and just see which stocks are at their 52-week high. The rule of thumb is if you have a stock that is above and reaching its 52-week high, that is going to continue to perform well. Just because a stock reaches its 52-week high does not mean that it's all of a sudden a bad stock. It means whatever they're doing with the company, they're doing right. It really means that they are really moving forward with what they are doing to continue to grow and expand the price of the stock. So definitely come in here, and you don't just buy a stock based off of it being at the 52-week high. You of course go through the news. You completely understand the stock inside and out before you actually make the decision to buy. Now, if you scroll down, we go to the high dividend stocks, as I was talking about earlier, and the second portfolio specifically for the high dividend stocks. This is where a great place is to come for the high dividend stocks. And right down here is the earnings surprises, stocks that come out with surprises on earnings. You can view all of those. Let's go all the way back up to the top, and we have now successfully completed the tab over the markets. So we can go ahead and go over to the next button, which is the deposit button. I just set this account up, especially for going over my step-by-step tutorial on the application and everything. So I have not actually deposited any money into this account yet. Yours will look very different right here if you have. That is completely okay. It goes over a whole bunch of different stuff, your account information and everything. Let me see if I can actually pull up and grab what this screen is actually going to look like for you. Alrighty, I was able to go ahead and pull up the page that will exactly show you what it looks like if you have deposited money into it and set up your bank and everything. This is exactly what it's going to look like. You're going to have right here your positions, your open orders. You will have a quick trade, which all that does is take you right back to the search where you can search for stocks and that kind of thing. You have your performance, so exactly how you're doing. Go and check that out. It's very awesome to see how your portfolio grows. Right there you got transfer. It's where you transfer money in, transfer money out. Maybe you have a different platform and you're transferring stocks from that platform onto Webull. You can do that there. And then we got the more button. So if you go over here to the more button, it drops down a lot of options. Again, the quick trade, which just takes you to search a stock. You got the IPO center, We already talked about the IPO center, but you can find it again right here. You have orders, which is just what your positions are, and you have your trading password. Definitely set up a trading password in case anything happens. It will be protected. You have your personal account details and everything that happens in here. Again, your performance, your funds, your account profile, and all of this stuff right here for options. You have your transfer and your bank account. You have complete access to that. And then boom, we got the trade confirmation, the account statements, and the tax documents. This year, the tax documents came out on February 13th. So if you have, if you are already signed up with Webull last year, definitely go there and check this because your tax statement will be there and you need to file that on your taxes. Right below that is paper trading, screeners, and the Cure converter, which is, if you tap on it, it's the currencies. Very cool. You got all these different currencies in here. So we'll go back, and these two right down here, the paper trading and screeners, are two separate videos I will go ahead and post tonight as well. I will talk about those because those are very important and very fun to mess around with. For now, let's go up here to the back button and go on to the next icon to the right, the community. This is Webull's community. You have all kinds of stuff up here. You have top news. You have just all around everything that Webull posts. What they post on here is pretty cool. You can come on here and scroll through. Let's move on to the menu button. This is where it will have your information and all of this good stuff. And we're going to want to talk about moving right along here to messages. This is pretty much where Webull will send you messages and everything. To the right, if you have any problems with Webull or anything, you can go to the help center and ask them, communicate with them. Then you got settings. Settings is pretty cool. You got your account and your security. You can switch accounts if you have multiple accounts. Right here is general. If you click on general, you can do your language, your font size, select your home page. The home page was the watch list that we were on. That was the very first page. If you go back and go down to theme, you can change it. So for example, I have it in dark theme, which is this cool night mode in the background. You can also change it to bright, which makes it extremely bright. I like the dark theme because it's a whole lot more easier on my eyes. You can go ahead and click back, and that's pretty much all there is right here. I mean, you got the notifications. If you go in there, you can turn off anything that you don't want Webull sending you. You can go back one more, and you'll be right back out to this page. You have your free stocks. This is where you will go when you open the account, and then once again when you deposit your first $100 or more. This is where you will go to grab your 2 free stocks. Like I said, I didn't deposit anything yet, so I don't have any, but this is exactly where you would go when you do. And you would just click accept, and it will take, I think, 1 to 2 weeks for those to go into your account. So that's very awesome. And you have your posts. If you decide to write anything on Webull and post it, that's where you would go. You have favorites, calendar. Again, you can go right here, and it pretty much just states exactly what we talked about over earlier about the earnings and the ex-dividend dates and all that. You can look at tomorrow's. So for example, today's March 8th. These are all going to be tomorrow for March 9th. So that's pretty cool. Let's go back. And you also have your paper trading right here, which I will post a video next about specifically just that. And then advanced options. Let's go to advanced options real quick, because right now, after signing up, you get 3 months free of the level 2 NASDAQ total view, which I will also talk about that next video. This is an extremely neat feature all around. I really like it. This is actually the only thing that when the 3 months is up, I would purchase. Yeah, I believe it costs $1.99 a month just to have it. It used to be $30 a month, and I'm pretty sure absolutely nobody bought it because they would just do fine without it. But because they dropped it and it's just $1.99, I was like, you know what? Why not? I think it's really useful through personal experience, so that might give you an idea. I will also show you exactly what that means and how it works and everything. But for right now, that is going over the entire account and everything. So I really hope you enjoyed my video, and if you did, please come over and check out my Apex Trader Facebook group page along with the YouTube. I'm going to be posting and uploading videos there all night. So thank you very much. Leave any comments if you have any more questions or anything regarding the Webull trading platform and anything. I would be more than gladly to make a video about it, answer your question, and yada yada yada. So thank you for joining along and listening to me today. Have an amazing night.